Hello and welcome to the Record Club, brought to you by Record Store Day, the official charts and National Album Day, and proudly in association with Bowers and Wilkins. My name is Jess Iszatt. Thank you very much for joining us. We are really excited to say that our guest this evening is Amy Lee from Evanescence to talk all about their brand new album, The Bitter Truth. If you're new to the Record Club, we're going to be spending the next half an hour talking to Amy all about the brilliant new record, and then we're going to be putting some of your questions to Amy about the album forward for her to answer. So, if there is anything that you'd like to know about the brand new record, whether it be about a certain song, maybe a particular lyric or the artwork that you've enjoyed, drop us a question in the comment section below and I'll be asking a selection of them in the second half of our chat. On top of that, one lucky winner who sends in a question, one lucky person, will be randomly selected to win a pair of Bowers and Wilkins PX7 over-ear noise cancelling headphones. Honestly, it's a wicked prize not to be missed out on. I've been listening to the new album in them and it's just sounding phenomenal. If you haven't already picked up a record of your own copy, head to your local record store. We thoroughly recommend you do that once our chat with Amy is over, because of course we are supporting local record stores. So let's get straight into this week's Record Club and say a big hello to Amy from Evanescence. How are we doing?
Hey Jess, thanks for having me.
How are you doing? How's the house out the back? You were just telling us a little bit about it.
It's good. Yeah, this is my studio space. It's been really good to have the past year while we were making the new album and spending so much time at home and like crammed in with each other with my sweet, adorable, energy-filled 6.5-year-old boy, Jack, and my husband. So it's great to have this place to, come out to and just get in the zone. Whenever.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, before we get stuck into all of that and the album, because I know you've mentioned that actually this is the room that you penned most of the album, I've got a couple of questions to ask you. I want to know, over the past year, of course, music has been a savior for a lot of us. Do you have any recommendations, any albums?
Wow. I was just like looking through my iTunes at what I was just like listening to yesterday. I mean, I guess through the last year, a big one for me, I've talked about it before, I hate to say the same thing over and over, but a big one for me is the Billie Eilish When We All Fall Asleep album that, has been so successful, which is so amazing and awesome and inspiring to me because it's so unique. It feels good to see something really different and special and homegrown get so far, sometimes we lose faith in that idea, that things can be just brand new and not corporate. So that's really beautiful. This is maybe surprising, but Casey Musgraves, one genre of music that I've never really gotten into is country, but she's not straight country. It is more like folk, like Americana music. And she released this album like right around the time that we moved here. So I was trying to get in the spirit also, called, what's it called? Great.
It's fine. You can cheat. You can look at your list.
It's so good because like every song on it, I'm typing it in right now. I keep thinking Harvest, but that's not right. And now you're waiting for me on live stuff. Golden Hour, that album. So good. And both of those albums for me are rare gems because you can really listen to the whole album without skipping tracks. That's just rarer and rarer these days.
Some iconic women you've named as well, so here for it. And also part of the reason that we run the Record Club is to support and celebrate indie record shops during the coronavirus lockdown, and just obviously they've all been shut over the past year, so it's been really, really tricky. Are there any record shops you're particularly fond of that you want to big up?
Oh my God, like one of my best family friends, the record store I went to growing up, Arkansas CD Record Exchange. Bill, my man,
big up.
Still standing after all this time. That's my place. It's cool because it's not just like records, it's also all kinds of memorabilia, Star Wars toys, weird stuff you can't find anywhere else. It's the best.
That is wicked. And obviously I know it's been really tough over the past year, like I mentioned, but just going physically into a record store, you can't beat it. You can kind of like feel the music around you. Same with gigs as well. That's why we miss it.
I do miss it.
We also actually have been kicking off the record club with a question from one of the many amazing independent record stores in the UK. So this week's question is from Gatefield Sounds in Whitstable. Amy, they want to know, as an independent record store, they are always looking to recommend music to their customers. If you were recommending your new album to someone, how would you describe it?
Everything you could possibly want and more. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's the great. No, just kidding. I don't know what to say. It's a journey, man, for sure. I mean, it's an album. It takes you on a ride. It starts out um, taking you in just a little bit at a time with a big epic intro, diving into the whole thing, and it definitely takes you on a trip. But I think that nowadays we listen to music so much in song form. So it's an interesting thing. It's always been important, but have it in mind. Like, I want every song to be able to stand on its own, but I also really want it to fit into the album. Our album is definitely good for turning up real loud in the car, driving down the road, just like getting lost in a place. I've been doing that a lot with our own album. If I'm being very honest, it feels so good to have it done.
Oh, yeah, listening in a car is like if you can listen to a full album in a car on a journey, that is just iconic. I love that. Don't
It's like
actually
one
drive at the
music
moment, but
video,
you
just
need it.
landscape going by.
Yeah, the movement, everything, you kind of lost it, but you're plugged in, but you've got it loud as well. Yeah, feel that. Big ups to Gatefield Sounds in Whitstable. Thank you so much for your question. So Amy, congratulations on topping the UK's official rock and metal albums charts.
Thank you.
How does it feel to have maintained such a strong fan base here in the UK?
I just feel a huge gratitude for our fans around the world. We, as you know, don't put out an album every year or every other year. It's pretty few and far between for us, and a lot goes into it. So it truly is like a special event when it happens, but also just this over and over again, humbling gift. The way that our fans have been there for us in these long, times between new music. We'll put on new tours even without music, and they're there. That's just something one of the things I'm the most grateful for in my life is the ability to do what we do. And after all this time, there's a new appreciation for it that I wouldn't have been able to have just not having the perspective the first time around. So the fact that I get to still do it, still get up on the stage, still make the music and put it out, and it's something I will never take for granted. So thank you.
Do you revisit your back catalogue much?
Well, I have to, always for our shows and stuff. And then also in the last few years, we did the synthesis project, which made me really go through all of it and decide which songs we wanted to include in that orchestral thing. And then before that, we did like a big collection box set, ultimate, all the things, all the B-sides, all the stuff. So I had to go through it all then and like find old pieces of, I don't know, scrapbook journals and lyrics and stuff. And it was really good actually to go through all of that before getting to the next chapter where we were making new music, because it just really having like just that understanding and perspective of the history and the journey and all of that is so good before you take a step forward, just to remember those roots.
Honestly, I'm still playing My Immortal and the classics, Bring Me Back to Life and stuff on the radio, and it just sounds as timeless as ever. And I feel like you guys are really expert in being able to revisit and kind of evolve and adapt. I think I've even seen you do a session on a Hello Kitty keyboard once,
Yes.
and I was like, "How am I? This is amazing!" But I was just like,
I tried to take it a little too serious, probably for the theme, but that's okay. That's sort of what I do.
So of course the album, it's out now, The Bitter Truth. People have been absolutely smashing it, listening to it loads. I'm one of them as well. And one thing I have to say is just like the general flow of the album, the way the songs kind of pour into each other. I mean, the first two artifacts, the turn into Broken Pieces, Sunshine, like they kind of unfold. It's probably one of my favorite beginnings, the most impressive beginnings to an album that I've listened to. And I mean, we've been doing this for the record club for a year, and obviously I've been listening to albums forever, but it's just amazing, like how much of that curation was really, really on purpose? Did you have to think about it loads, or did it kind of just come together?
You know, the way that I like to write is mainly without a plan, especially starting out. Like when you get an idea, it's so awesome. We now have these with us all the time
Mm.
because back in the day, it was that I always needed to have my little like micro cassette, like voice notes recorder in my purse, and I would carry that around everywhere and just get a melody idea, or a lot of times we go. And like you hear it later, like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You get something on your head, scrap it down, however, and then when you get the time where you're feeling creative inspired, later at night when you're done with your real day, to sit there and like hammer it out in a demo and just play. And when I get those thoughts in my head, I'm very rarely ever thinking, ooh, this is for Evanescence, or ooh, this is for, I don't know, some film thing I might want to do, or I don't know, whatever. It's usually just like I hear something in my head and I want to make it happen, and then we'll see what it is. So that very beginning of the album part, that artifact, was actually just me like on my laptop, the laptop microphone, even in our hotel room at like 3 a.m. on tour in 2019. Just had an idea in the middle of the night, and I was singing quietly like that because I needed to be quiet because there was guests in the other rooms around me, and I wasn't thinking about anything. It was just something that I had in my mind. But then later, when that second part started developing, which is a collaboration between me and Scott Kirkland from the Crystal Method, actually, we just started randomly swapping ideas. Again, not for Evanescence, not for anything, just like, hey, I like you, you like me. If you ever want to send me some music, do it. And he had this piece, and I kind of rearranged it and turned it into a thing. Once I had that, I just experimented with like gluing the two parts together, and I knew with that piece that Scott and I did, the end of it, there was this other song that I was writing with the band, Broken Pieces Shine, that I was really excited about. It just the way that it started in was so driving and heavy, and I had a vision for that being the first moment you hear the band. I did have that in my mind, like this is the beginning, kind of. I realized that they went together, and they were in the same key even, and just made that happen. So I had the beginning in my mind quite a while before we did it, but so many other pieces about it. You have to just sort of have an open mind, make all the music you're going to make, and somewhere in the middle of the process, you start to sort of hear transitions like, ooh, this would be really cool if it went into this. And then you start working towards that and planning for that. And the other ones just sort of fall into place. It's cool how it all came together.
Honestly, I just you first plug in and you're just like listening, and it's almost you're kind of being like lulled into a false sense of security, but that's not the
And
case
then
because come
hammered
on,
over the
it's
head.
Evanescence, and I'm just like, yes, this is
Yeah.
everything that I wanted. It's like that kind of like nervous, excited feeling. So I was just like, this is
You know,
awesome. Okay, we're
also,
in.
after it having been so long since we'd done a full album, I really wanted us to have an intro. Like we have been building to this, and the beginning of this album needs to feel like this is finally happening for us. We can't just punch into it. Like we got some talking to do before we start this thing.
Were there many tunes that were cut from the album, or did you have like a lot to choose from? Then you were just like, no, okay, this is creme de la creme.
It's always like that. There's always a lot on the cutting room floor, so to speak. Unfinished pieces of songs, lots and lots, and a few songs that just didn't quite make it all the way there through the melodies and maybe the arrangements in the end. But they actually have the band tracked. There's like 3 of those, but there's a bunch of started pieces. When you have that much time, you really take the time to make an album. Um, you get to just pick and choose the very best and make sort of a greatest hits out of it in the end. So yeah, there's leftovers. I don't know. We'll see. I never want to put something out just because we have it. I want it to be really great and stand up to everything else that we've done. So we'll see what gets finished, but I'm sure that at least a couple of them will be finished.
Okay. We'll wait and see if there's a surprise like extra package at some point. What's your favorite track on the album?
That's an impossible question. I really struggle with that question. It changes kind of daily. It depends on the mood. One of the things that we sought out to do with the album was sort of separate the songs, instrumentally and like emotionally, like let different moments have a moment. So if you're feeling like you need to be empowered or like get up in the morning and get going, like part of me, I love that song. It just starts right in and it's jamming. I don't know, if you need to just cry it out, you got Far From Heaven. If you want to kick some ass, you got Take Cover. There's a little bit of everything on there, so it's hard to choose one.
I think I'm the same when I listen through an album. And obviously, if you enjoy the full album, like you said, depending on mood and where you're at, you've got a different favorite every time. So on an immediate listen, I feel like, yeah, right. Because I don't know, it's a vibe. And like I said,
Cool.
imagining everything live, I was just like,
Yeah.
this would be
Mhm.
sick. But then I was then re-listening to Better Without You. And I just was listening to the lyrics, and then I noticed that actually you posted the lyrics on your Instagram specifically, and you were talking about certain parts of your journey and things that you'd overcome. Um, is there advice? I don't want to like read it back to you. Obviously, people
But
can
yeah, I
they
remember.
know what it is.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's also a part about the industry, and I feel like you've been in the game for a long time, and you've obviously smashed it in so many different areas. Is there some advice that you could give, perhaps to some emerging music makers today, or perhaps women in music with this song in mind, or something maybe you would have said to your younger self?
You know, there has always, all along the way, particularly starting out, but it lasts and lasts. You're constantly going to be pulled to do things that feel like a sacrifice, that feel like it's a watering down of the art, of what makes it really cool. Like, you know what's really cool about it. You know what you love about it. You know that unique thing that you can't quite define. Um, but the businessmen who are really, their priority is about making it make money, are constantly trying to pull out those unique things and make it dumb, make it simple, make it something that they think everyone can get into. Don't give in to that. I have fought that fight over and over and over, and I really believe that is a huge part of the reason that we're still here. The corporate guys, if they could write a great song themselves and make millions of dollars off of it or whatever, they would have. That's why they find us. So trust your gut when it comes to the creativity and being the master of your art. Do what you got to do, play the game, but don't sell your soul. It's not worth it.
I feel that. And also, I mean, if you really think about the beginning of your journey and what you guys were doing, which was so different, and I'm guessing the first few gigs that you did, perhaps people might not have got it immediately, or maybe they did, but they didn't know what they were seeing. It's just it's what makes you different, and it brings longevity, doesn't it?
Thank you. Yeah.
So we were asking people online for their favorite lyrics. What was one of your favorite lines in the album? Which lyric were you really proud of?
Uh, there's a few. I'm really proud of this whole album. Um, in the first song, "Broken Pieces Shine," the very first part, like the way that it starts, what it's describing is something that's really hard to describe, but it just feels so simple in the song somehow. Um, the end of the sentence is "Survival hurts." I don't want to like read off all my lyrics. I feel like dummy, but um, you know, it's it's kind of from a place. So much of this album has been inspired by grief. Uh, but what's beautiful about it is it's really about the processing and the aftermath and what we do with that and how we pick ourselves back up. It's really about the journey back up and back forward and fighting through, accepting the pain in order to push through it, accepting the things that are, messed up in our world so that we can make changes instead of, just covering our ears and trying to tune it out. I think that admitting the brokenness is really important and in a big way kind of sums up a lot of the main theme of the album. So I'm proud of all the lyrics in that song. I think of our fans a lot in that song and have always like visualized that live, especially at the end. The reason there's that repeating "Let all the broken pieces shine" lyric is I'm imagining everybody in the arena just like singing it out. I want that so bad. That's fun.
Oh,
There's
gave me
more.
goosebumps.
Yeah. I'm proud of all the lyrics on the album.
Definitely, and you should be. There is something very exciting that's happening in celebration of your 15th anniversary of the double platinum selling album featuring singles "Call Me When You're Sober," "Lithium," "Sweet Sacrifice," "Good Enough," limited edition of the open door, and that is just, it's so exciting.
It's such a beautiful color, that marbled iris, like gray thing that
Yes.
vinyl is. I was so excited to find that to pair with it because it goes with the artwork so well.
And I know it's for Record Store Day specifically as well. It's like literally coming out on the same day. It's going to be a huge celebration. Is there any chance you have one with you?
I
Oh, I
don't. I
really want
haven't
to.
seen
I
it in
really want to
person
see
yet.
one.
No, I haven't seen it in person yet. I think they're still printing them up.
Well, that's what people need to do then. They need to, for Record Store Day, they're definitely going to have
Yes.
to go nab one of those.
Totally.
Limited edition. That's going to be amazing. Are you going to do anything to celebrate as well, your end?
I don't know. It depends on where we're at that point. It's so hard to make plans anymore. I feel like we're almost at the end of this thing where we can start making plans that don't have to be canceled. But like, as of yet, like I'm not even planning next week. I guess that's sort of just a personal flaw. Actually, I'm not so good at planning, but I'll party. I'll have a glass of wine. You want to
I was
Zoom?
going to say
We're
by
in.
the 17th of
Go.
July. Come on, it's going to happen. Hopefully, we can do some sort of, well, if not in person, then on Zoom, definitely. We'll cheers to that. Okay, so it's time for some of your questions. I know lots of people have been getting involved. Kaio Philippe on the official charts page says, which song from The Bitter Truth are you most looking forward to singing live?
I keep saying part of me because those verses just have this really unique for us, but just right in the pocket groove. A lot of our songs have a bit of a buildup with a verse that's more in a quieter, lower, building place than a chorus that soars. Part of me just launches, "Not on your life." I can't wait to do that. Also, the song itself is, in a lot of ways, about my relationship with the music and the fans, and Drown Me in Your Blinding Light, like that's about the stage. So I don't know, I want to feel those lyrics come to life live.
Sam Marie Hayes on the Record Club. She's asking, or he, she, sorry, what inspires you the most when writing music?
It varies all the time. I listen to music. Listening to music inspires me about music, but I don't know. I have to say the biggest inspirations have come from just sort of like personal revelations in life, big challenges in particular, big pain, also big love. You wouldn't have big pain if you didn't have big love. Just the things that make me feel so much that I have to write music to get it out of myself. I became a mom in 2014. That just cracked my mind open in a way that I can't explain, and made me want to make a whole bunch of music. And I don't know. So anything, good or bad, just big, big feelings.
You actually mentioned Jack earlier. I was going to ask, has he been in this room and has he been playing around on the piano,
Oh
guitar?
yeah. Oh
What's
yeah.
his instrument of choice?
Well, he likes to play on the mic because I've got all the effects. So I can make it like crazy alien voice or whatever. We just like goof around on the microphone. But no, he'll play the keyboards and he'll play the drums. He was really into the drums when he was little, like 2, 3. Just anything, especially when it's like Will's kit. That's not Will's kit over there. On tour, like, and he'll come up and like play it and you hear this, like sound come out of it. He's like, oh, okay. So, loves
Oh,
music.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's going to be epic. Is he gonna, do you reckon he might be a singer at some point?
He could be. He's got a good voice. He's definitely got pitch. And it's, what's interesting about him is that something I know he gets this from me is like this weird kind of attention to the details beyond the big picture, like maybe missing the big picture, but just honing on teeny, teeny, tiny background details. So he was singing something like that I thought he made up just recently. And then later, like weeks later, like we were watching an random episode of like SpongeBob SquarePants. And it was like the score music in the background of a random part. It's not like the song, it's like deep background. I'm like, is that what you were singing right there? He really is into like the score and background music of things in a way that's pretty neat.
Oh, yes, Jack, talented. I like that. Kaylee Kurtz on the Evanescence page is asking, what is music making like for you today versus during the Fallen era? How has your process changed and or stayed the same?
Well, it is different in that, well, first of all, I was a teenager in that time. So like my life was different. The time that I spent writing music was usually late at night when I was supposed to be sleeping with my headphones on a keyboard. I guess it's not that different. It's like this room, it's like your bedroom. And then, spending all my free time instead of hanging out with friends, my friends, I mean, my friend, it was Ben, like we were making music together with this idea that it could one day become some big band thing. But it was also very, I don't know, either by myself almost always or one-on-one. And I have gotten to a place where it's very different really being in a band, where we jam together and just roll out ideas and don't feel any fear or insecurity about our ideas getting rejected, by each other, like just being supported and loving each other and hearing each other's ideas and making something cool and not being, I don't know, afraid to collaborate as well. Just having an open heart, and I guess a lot more security as an adult who's done this for a while. So, yeah.
Do you still have the camcorder, or not camcorder, the voice
tape
recorder?
I have all the
tape recorder.
tapes. Yeah, I'm about halfway through a lot of my video and audio tapes that have been in storage forever. I'm trying to like convert them to digital so they don't all die.
Like crumble or something.
Great stuff on there. Yeah, pretty dumb stuff too, good and bad.
Oh.
It's like old journal.
Oh my God, imagine finding that, and like some of the sounds that I make sometimes on the mic, I'm just like, what is that? Alison Christine Stevens on the Record Club says, do you still get nervous before you perform?
Yeah. Not always, but especially the first time back after a while. There's no way we won't all be nervous stepping onto stage after being off for a couple of years and writing and everything, but it only lasts a minute. Like usually like the anxiety and the comes, for like the 20 minutes before and like 30 seconds into the first song. And then you're like, I'm here, I'm in, like, there's no turning back anymore. Anything that your mind or body was thinking about before just gets cut off by focus. And there's also just some other like force that takes over and doesn't let you have that fear anymore.
I think anything that you really care about, if you're showcasing it, it's you have that sort of adrenaline, don't you? It's that buzz.
For sure, exactly. It shows you care.
Jonathan Schultz on the Evanescence page says, what has been your favorite cover that you've performed?
Hi, Jonathan. Favorite cover that I've ever performed? You know what? Really, really long time ago, I don't know if I can say it's my favorite, but I'm going to call out an oldie. Long ago, we used to cover The 4th of July by Soundgarden, and that song is so heavy and interesting. And that was back when Will Boyd was in the band, and he would do the vocals with me because there's sort of like this like an octave vocal thing that happens. It was just really fun to like step into such a different part for myself, and also just a lot of why we choose covers is just for the love of singing a song. So that's a good one. I haven't done that.
Oh, well, Amy, that's actually all we have time for today. Guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions. Amy from Evanescence, thank you so much for joining us on the Record Club. Of course, if you haven't already got yourself a copy of The Bitter Truth yet, we absolutely recommend you go order one from your local record store. If your local record store is open as well, go into the shop and support the ting. I'm also excited to announce that the winner of this week's Bowers & Wilkins Wireless Headphones Prize is, drumroll, Sam Marie Hayes on the Record Club's page. Make sure to slide into the Record Club's DMs. We'll get these headphones to you. You can listen to the Bitter Truth in them, and they'll sound amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and sending in your questions. Again, Amy. Also, actually, quickly, Amy, I tried to watch the Bitter Truth documentary, and I couldn't get it over here. So
I hate to place blame on anybody else, but it's not our fault. We had everything turned into time and it was supposed to work. We're just waiting on Amazon. It's happening worldwide, but it should be soon. They keep saying soon. I know it will happen eventually, but I think they just have a really big system and it takes a while for things to like get embedded in there. So sorry.
Okay, it's fine.
I know.
We forgive you. We forgive
but thank you for caring, and thank you for wanting to watch it. Someday you'll get to. It's pretty good.
One day I'll put a reminder. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us.
Having
Our
us.
next guest will be announced on the Record Club's social media very soon, so make sure you're following us. All previous episodes are available to watch back on our YouTube channel, and we'll see you very soon. Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. See you guys.